Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a short but profoundly powerful piece of text titled The Compassion of the Kingdom Message. We'll be looking at how this source material uses a very specific, high-stakes metaphor, literally a rescue mission, to explain the real motivations behind sharing a religious message. It's a super fascinating look at where empathy, duty, and urgency all intersect. So, let's dive right in. Now, you might be wondering, what actually drives someone to go out and share their faith? From the outside looking in, it's really easy to assume it's all driven by some strict obligation or institutional duty, right? But this text completely reframes that whole assumption. It actually argues that the primary engine for sharing this message isn't obligation at all. Instead, it's an act of profound compassion in response to a hurting world. Let's see exactly how they build this case.
Okay, let's start with section 1, driven by deep compassion.
The source text roots this whole motivation directly in empathy, and it uses a very specific quote to establish this baseline. God loved the world so much, which is drawn from John chapter 3, verse 16. The material uses this verse as a major catalyst. It sets up this paradigm that if the Creator's fundamental disposition toward the world is love, well then the follower's disposition needs to mirror that exactly. It's this deep affection that allegedly compels them to look at the people around them with intense concern rather than judgment. And this illustrates exactly why that concern is just so intense. The text outlines a really stark contrast. Over on one side, you have the problem described in Ephesians, humanity in this bleak emotional state, without God and having no hope. That's a diagnosis of profound isolation. But then, the counterbalance to all that despair is the good news. Adherents view their message as the exact, tangible remedy for the spiritual ailments of the modern world. Basically, they see a void and they firmly believe they hold the exact piece to fill it. Moving right along to section 2, the life vest analogy. Here, the source text shifts from abstract theology into a very physical, striking metaphor, making the visual claim that humanity is literally drowning in life's problems. Just let that imagery sink in for a second. People aren't just facing difficulties, they are completely overwhelmed, struggling to stay afloat in a sea of modern anxieties. And by using the word drowning, the stakes are instantly elevated. I mean, if someone is drowning, you don't casually offer them advice from the shoreline, do you? No, you take immediate, decisive action. This metaphor explains the urgency perfectly. They don't see themselves as salespeople making a pitch, they see themselves as rescue workers looking out over troubled waters. So, if humanity is drowning, what exactly is the rescue equipment? Well, the text defines the life vest as the good news of God's kingdom. This is the specific message they feel absolutely compelled to throw out to those who are struggling. Just as you would never withhold a life vest from a drowning person, the source material argues that withholding this news would be a supreme lack of love. That deep compassion we discussed earlier, that's what gives them the strength to just keep throwing those life vests out. Which brings us to section 3, promise of real life. So what happens when someone actually grabs hold of this metaphorical life vest? The text outlines a comprehensive rescue package with 3 main points. First off, it fills hearts with hope, immediately reversing that total despair we talked about earlier. Second, it helps people find the best possible life right now, meaning it offers practical, immediate benefits for your daily life. But the biggest point is this prospect of the real life. Based on 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 19, this is defined as everlasting life in God's new world. So the life vest doesn't just keep you from drowning today, it pulls you onto a shore that lasts forever. Let's look at section 4, a warning of the end. True compassion, according to the source material, isn't just about offering comfort. It's also about sounding an alarm. Drawing on the book of Ezekiel, which speaks of a watchman's duty to warn of incoming danger, the text maps out a very specific chronological sequence. Step 1 is the approaching end of what it calls this wicked world. That moves into step 2, a great tribulation where false religion is removed. And finally, it culminates in step 3, Armageddon, the destruction of the entire wicked system. Now, our point here isn't to validate these events, but to understand that because adherents believe this sequence is imminent, their compassion absolutely demands that they warn their neighbors. Ultimately, the source material argues that true compassion is a duality. It balances the warmth of deep empathy with the urgent reality of a ticking clock. It quite literally transforms the act of sharing a message into a high-stakes rescue operation. So the next time someone knocks on your door or approaches you to share their faith, ask yourself this. Regardless of what you personally believe, are you seeing a salesperson or someone who genuinely believes they are throwing you a life vest? We really hope this explainer has helped you unpack the structured arguments and deep motivations outlined in this source text. For more information, please visit jw.org. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press bell icon to get the notification for new video. Thanks.